Good morning, Buzzy Bees. This is Heather Cate with Honeybee Buzz, coming to you with Robin Carberry. She's a wonderful coach. We're gonna we're gonna talk about emerging from a safety zone and into a business that really works for you, that you love. My background is that I've got about 20 years in the digital space, building websites, doing PR, copywriting, and my background before that was with Sylvania, the light bulb company, as a senior industrial engineer. I've also worked with doing research at Mass General Hospital. And one of my first fun starter jobs was at the Children's Museum in Boston, and then I actually went from there to Croatia, and I was the director of communications for a humanitarian relief group. So I bring all of those things together into looking at where you are and where you want to go and how to put yourself out there in a way that really works so that you're reaching your target market. And Robin's going to talk with us today about leaving sort of the cocoon that maybe we've created for ourselves. Sometimes we're in 9-to-5 jobs and we're ready to get into doing our own business, but there's some uncomfortable leaps and transitions. And Robin's going to tell us about part of how she did the same thing for herself and has emerged into this beautiful, thriving, successful business. And Robin's a wonderful person, by the way, so you've got to get to know her. So hit it, Robin. Tell us all about you.
You are so sweet. First of all, I have to say that every time I talk to you, I learn something else about you. And it's funny that you used to work at the Children's Museum in Boston, because I literally worked right around the corner from there.
No way! How cool is that?
Small world.
Yeah.
So just a little bit about me. I'm from New York originally. I live in North Carolina now with my husband, my 2 dogs, and my cat. I went to Cornell University, graduated a longer time ago than maybe you care to even hear about. Moved to Boston, worked around the corner from said Children's Museum at a startup, a tech startup doing support and testing and all that geeky software kind of stuff. Decided I was over the winter completely. I did not want to wake up any more mornings with a foot of snow on my car. I was done with that. And moved to Raleigh, North Carolina, where I went to work for another startup, doing similar sorts of stuff and also consulting, spent some time in Cleveland working in consulting at a bank. And then decided if I was going to work 80, 90 hours a week, I might as well work for myself, right? So I bought a restaurant.
Okay.
Yeah, I was jumping in off the deep end, right? But
what kind of food?
I learned so many things about running my own business, being an entrepreneur, having to do all the things, like having to know how to do all the things, from the the books to the taxes to dealing with employees to hiring to firing to buying supplies, keeping supplies managed, doing inventory, washing dishes, cooking food, you name it, marketing, advertising, all the stuff.
Wow.
So it was a great experience. I ended up meeting my husband and getting married in a small town in Eastern North Carolina, which is where the restaurant was. It was not what I expected to happen, but it's what happened. And then I was diagnosed with lupus. And I had to significantly shrink down the things that I was doing in the world, which meant that running a restaurant no longer made any sense for me from a health perspective whatsoever. So I sold the restaurant and went to work at a law firm because, again, small town, not a lot of opportunity. There's certainly no tech companies around here, so I walk back into the old sort of life. But there were a lot of law firms. I had a 4-year degree. I was like, shoot, I could go work at a law firm, right? So I did that for 16 years. It was also a very, very, very valuable experience because I learned a lot of things from a legal perspective that I think all business owners really should know. I feel like we really, it's not until you've run into a situation where legal advice is required that you start educating yourself on what that all means. So I feel like all business owners should have an attorney that they consult for all types of reasons. But anyway, onward. At one point in that, I got much better. So I got control of my health. Things are good. Not anything to be concerned about or worried about. It's, as my rheumatologist says, it's a nuisance disease for me. So I'm very fortunate. But along with that, I started to get incredibly bored with what I was doing. And it started to feel like a box that I had put myself in. And that when you get to be a certain age, that you start to be, and everybody's defined in ways that they can't control, right? But when you get to be a woman in your 40s, that you have sort of taken on the titles of mom or grandmom, possibly, or that nice lady that we ask questions about because she's got a lot of background and knowledge, but she can't really learn how to do new things or do different things or break out of this particular box that society might want to put on you. And I was feeling very much that way, that I wanted to do something different. I wanted to make a contribution, and I wasn't finding a way to do that. I was looking for jobs in the online space, and I was sending all sorts of applications out into the abyss. I started taking graphic design classes at Parsons online. I started taking coding classes. I learned CSS. I learned HTML. I tried to learn PHP. It was really where I had to draw the line in the sand because I don't like PHP. It doesn't like me. But, so I was trying to do all these things, and clearly I was capable of learning all these things because I did. But I felt like I was putting all these things out there, and the light that was shining on me when you looked at my LinkedIn profile is, oh, she's experienced, which is not necessarily a good thing when you're competing against millennials, right? So I hired a business coach because I decided at one point, maybe I'm just doing something wrong. Maybe I'm just beating my head against the same wall. And if I found the doorway to walk through, my life would be a lot easier. And I wasn't going to give up. I mean, I was not going to give up because there was no way I was staying at that law firm until I retired, because I was just a person that I did not want to be, that my husband would not want to live with, that my dogs would run away from. It was just not going to be good. So I hired a business coach. And she said to me after we talked, had our little discovery call, which I don't even know to me, discovery calls was something like you do at a law firm. Like, that's discovery. It's part of litigation. So I don't even know that terminology. So we had our discovery call, and she said to me, so.
How would you define a business discovery call in case somebody's watching that's not in our little circle?
Question. So discovery call in terms of business means just a conversation that you have with somebody who might be a potential client to see if you're a good fit, to see if you can actually help them, if you can solve their problems, and if you connect. And especially in a coaching relationship, the connection is so very important. Not every coach is going to be the right coach for you. You have to feel comfortable with that person. You have to feel that person understands your situation and where you're coming from, that maybe they've walked in your shoes. It doesn't have to be exactly precisely the same industry, but it's helpful if it is, because they can guide you around the pitfalls. They can see things coming down the road that maybe you don't expect because you haven't been there yet. So anyway, that you have that conversation to see if all those things seem to be aligned. And for me, and for my first coach, Rebecca Bertucci, who also works at LinkedIn, we connected, and she suggested I start my own business, and that's exactly what I did. So
very cool.
So I moved then from starting a VA firm into digital marketing, and then to owning my own inner coach, which is what I'm doing today, is helping women like me, like Heather, who are ready to make a big change in their life and take all of that really cool background, knowledge, experience, and twist it around into something different where we can make a difference in people's lives. We can help them do things that they felt like they weren't capable of doing. They just needed the sort of support that both of us can provide. So that was a very long-winded answer to your question.
No, it's a great explanation. What an interesting life journey. Wow.
Yeah, well, we all have those,
Oh, yeah, but it's not always easy to talk about it or to transform it into something that works for you now. And I think that's a big part of what your coaching does. And for those of you who are, just meeting Robin now, she's an amazingly compassionate, interesting, creative, perceptive, open-minded person, and she is just absolutely fun to talk with, and she's got these great insights. I think she's a treat. So.
Oh, you were so sweet. Thank
Yeah,
you.
that's true.
Thank you. It's
true.
fun to me to help people look inside themselves and pull out these things, this knowledge, these contributions that they can make that they don't even understand that they have the ability to. I can't tell you how many women that I speak to who are in whatever stage they happen to be in. They can be in a 9-to-5. They could have started their own business. And not really, and sort of be floundering. They can, have been in business for a couple of years and still feel like they're chasing clients, they're chasing money. They're not spending their time really doing the things they love. They're chasing their tails in circles.
Doing the business part of it instead of getting some, yeah.
Right, exactly. So reach, and I can't tell you, all those women across all those spectrums who are obviously capable, smart, on the ball chicks, right? Will tell me, I don't have any skills. I'll be like, well, how can you say that?
Let's talk for a few minutes. Yes. Well, we'll get this straightened out. Yeah.
Let's talk about that a little bit, because you don't get to this point in life without having skills. It's just a matter of looking at yourself from somebody else's perspective.
I think sometimes we all need community. We all need somebody that's outside of us at a slightly different angle, but that cares about us and who can talk with us and kind of help us to see another perspective, or a perspective that's a little further out. That's a big, big, big help. Yes, absolutely.
It totally is. And I joined about a year and a half ago a high-end mastermind, which was really for me stepping out of the box. So I tell people to step out of the box all the time, right? But then I have to apply the same to me, because otherwise I don't learn and grow. And that's one of the things that I talk with people about as well, is feeling ready is a falsehood. Because most people, and not everybody, I can't do the broad brush thing, but most people are never going to feel ready when it comes to doing something scary or investing in themselves or their business. So this high-end mastermind was application only. And so you had to apply, you get the application reviewed, then you had to be interviewed, and then you had to be accepted. And I was like, no way, not happening. I am not ready for this. I am like a year away. But for some reason, I did it anyway.
Did you? That doing it anyway thing.
I took action. So I applied. I moved on to the interview step. I interviewed, and I was offered a spot in the mastermind. And then I really freaked out, because it was a very significant investment financially in my business. And I looked around at the person who was running the mastermind, who was a mentor of mine that I have followed for some time. So I knew her, and I knew how amazing she was. But I also looked at the other people in the mastermind and were like, oh my gosh, their businesses are, you can't see my hand, here. And I'm laid down here.
Oh.
How's this ever going to work for me? And that's exactly the point. So first, take action, even though you don't feel ready, because you're probably never going to feel ready. Secondly, surround yourself with people who are smart and who have knowledge that you do not have, and have skills that you do not have, because that is the only way you learn. And you also raise yourself up to the level of people who are around you. So, I mean, don't you agree, Heather? Don't you think?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. And you may secretly be one of those cream of the crop people and just not sort of feel like it. And you need to bubble up to the surface, or whatever it is that works for you. But yeah, absolutely. Being around other people that are, you can relate with, and that do your thing, or do some aspect of something that helps your thing. Yes. And seeing it's yes. Absolutely.
And I apologize for the dog barking.
No problem. We're real people, so we've got real households,
And that's part of the joy of doing what we do, is that, you know, hopefully people understand when the dog barks in the background, because I'm home, I'm working from home, and you're working from home. And that means that we can spend our day and our time doing the things that are important to us. We control our days. And if we don't control our days when we're doing the things that we do, then it's time to relook at our business model and relook at our schedules. But mostly it's about having the freedom and the flexibility to do things that we love, help people, and have lives that are meaningful and important to us.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Robin, thank you very much for talking with us today. I appreciate it. I think it's absolutely great. And I'll look forward to talking with you again. Could you tell people how they can reach you?
Oh, absolutely. I would love to. So apparently I've been told recently that I am all over the place on social media. And so you can find me on Facebook. So my name is Robin Carberry. That's, you know, my personal profile. You can find me that way. I also have 2 business pages, Robin Carberry Coaching. I go live once a week and give business tips. So if anybody would like to join me Wednesday, 9:30 a.m. Eastern time, that's where I am. You can always catch up after the fact by dropping into the business page. And I am on Instagram as well at Robin_Carberry, spelled Carberry, just like a car that you drive and a berry that you eat. People are always confused by that. So it's Robin_Carberry_coaching. And I would love to see you in any of those places.
That's great. Thanks, Robin. Have a great day.
You
Take
too.
care, folks.
Bye.